They say there's a first time for everything, so tell me, Vikkstar, what the hell were you thinking? As I'm sure a bunch of you already know, YouTuber turned DJ Vikkstar123 has recently been under fire for making an AI-generated music video. He's been in a little bit of hot water. He's been dragged over the hot coals. I'm not going to speak too much about the video itself, as that's been covered to death. It's kind of old news now. But he makes this video. The fans aren't happy. And in fact, he even doubles down in response to the response. He says we should all embrace it. AI is the future. And he says that even though the models and the backgrounds were AI-generated and animated, they were still put into Premiere Pro and edited by a human.
So basically models were made in Midjourney, Flux, Kling, Luma, and Runway.
Yeah.
Then all of the backgrounds and the models were imported into Premiere.
Yeah.
And a lot of actual video editing went down.
So I think that he thinks that people think that the entire video was just generated by typing in a prompt and boom, the video came up. But I feel like they might know more than he might think. But if you don't know, then basically how it works is you type in your prompt into Midjourney or whatever, ask it to create an image of some sort, and obviously it's going to be more detailed based on how detailed your prompt is, and it will create that image based on whatever it can scrape from the internet, and that image itself can be animated by a software like Luma, Runway, and then once you have those shots of the animation, you can then take that into Premiere Pro like any regular video and start editing from there. Maybe a bit of an oversimplification, but essentially that's how it's done. But what I wanted to talk about specifically in this video was the fact that a few weeks ago, as part of a Sidemen Sunday challenge, Vikkstar made a real music video for the same song, and it is so much better. There I was, like any other British boy who went to school in the 2010s, I was up waiting for the next Sidemen Sunday, and it looks like a fun video this week. Race across an island. I love those kind of travel videos, so I'm watching the video, and the Sidemen split into two teams and race across an island, obviously. But along the way, they have certain challenges they need to complete. So Zerka, Josh, who's overseeing the whole video, sets Vic a challenge to make a real music video for his song, which I thought was kind of funny.
Our tasks are to make a real music video for Vikkstar Chemical. No AI allowed. Thank you, Josh. I've needed to do this.
So with the 2025 attention span that I have, I immediately stopped watching the video and went over to Vikkstar's channel and saw that sure enough, he had made and uploaded the video. Directed by Tobe Jizzle, the two of them filmed various shots across their journey, and it was on this little camcorder as well. And I really liked it. It was raw, it had a certain style to it, a certain swagger that I don't even know if it was necessarily intended. It had the sort of, 90s, 2000s EDM music video vibes, kind of like Sandstorm or something like that. And not only did I think it was quite good and obviously better than the original AI video, it was also really inspiring to me to just pick up a camcorder and make something. Like, it gave me ideas for videos to make in that style. Maybe I can make my first music video like that. I mean, look, the Sidemen aren't perfect. I love their charity matches, but they also openly associate with people like Logan Paul. But who doesn't have a problematic fave? And Vikkstar seems like a nice guy. I never really watched any of his content. I was more of a Zerka Thursdays guy myself. I think a lot of people think that the main criticism of AI is that, you could have paid a real artist to do it, and real artists are going to lose their jobs. And sure, maybe that's part of it, but me, as a musician, filmmaker, general creative person, I don't feel particularly threatened by AI art. I think there will always be a place for human art, even if in 5 years' time our fascist overlords completely outlaw any human-made music and we have to perform it in speakeasies. Personally, I don't particularly care if a machine can make visuals or music. In theory, I think it's actually quite cool if it's able to be done ethically, and we're not quite there yet, and that's my problem. It's threefold. Number one, no credit or compensation for the art that it scrounges the internet for. I'm just going to interject here because I don't know if I made my original point clear. You might say, well, AI art takes inspiration. What's the difference between a human taking inspiration from multiple sources and AI taking inspiration from multiple sources? So let's say hypothetically two pieces of art are made. They look identical, they take inspiration from the same sources, except one was made by a human and the other was made by AI. The reason why it's different, and the reason why you might notice that I haven't actually commented on the look or sound of AI art itself too much, is because it's about the context. It's about how it's made and who's benefiting from it. Yes, arguably both are transformative. They're taking different sources of inspiration and combining it to make something new. But where a human has filtered their inspiration through their own unique set of skills, experiences, tastes, an AI program has trained 100% on the art, essentially committing intellectual property theft of artists, some of whom already not making money, solely for the financial gain of tech companies that are not only backed by billionaires, but are creating billionaires. You might say, well, what about samples, interpolations, covers? Well, that takes me back to my original point, you credit and you compensate. But what about a short quote in a melody or a book or a script or a poem or any other fleeting reference? Well, that's fine if a human does it without necessarily crediting, because at least that comes from a place of genuine inspiration and in some cases admiration. Whereas if it shows up in an AI piece of work, then you know that that is in the database of some Silicon Valley company who are financially gaining from it, and God knows where else it might show up. Point 2, there's no way to opt out. If you are a creative person who has put anything online, then your stuff has just been fed into these machines. And there's nothing really we can do about it at the moment. The government doesn't care. In fact, they actively champion it. And 3, probably most importantly, it's killing our planet. It's using up so much water. So until all of those things are taken care of, I think we should hold off from it where we can, but obviously that's not going to happen. We need to know what we look like as an action figure. Maybe I didn't go hard enough at Vikkstar, but he at least seemed somewhat engaged in the discussion despite turning off the comments. Someone who didn't respond as well, The Darkness. Similarly, they made an AI slop music video, and as predicted, received a lot of comments criticizing them for that, and the majority were in pretty good faith, speaking about the ethical implications of AI, as I touched on earlier, and they just didn't care at all. They were being really defensive and sarcastic. Now look, I don't really care about the comments too much because a lot of people tend to do a little bit of trolling in the comments, especially if they don't get what's genuine, what's maybe in bad faith. But Justin Hawkins made a video on his YouTube channel and pretty much doubled down on it.
Great song, deeply disappointing video, visually and ethically. Oh my god. I'm really disappointed to see you post yet another AI video, even if it's being done as a joke like some people claim in the comments. It's still gross to use AI. If you eat a turd ironically, you're still eating a turd. That's a good point, actually. But also don't care, really. AI slop. I replied to that, I know, right? I love it. But there is still some issue with how it often takes from others' work. Is this AI trained privately? That's a really good question. So I answered that. I said, yes, that was the real challenge here. We had to create all of the elements in real life so we could privately train the AI to create the things that we'd already made exist. It was the most expensive video we've ever made, and it took 15 years in total.
So while Vikkstar's response maybe wasn't great, The Darkness were just outright dismissive. For me, it's not always about what you do, it's how you conduct yourself moving forward. You can make an AI music video without realizing all of the problems and then say, oh sorry, I didn't realize, I wasn't educated. That's fine. It tells me a lot about you if you're not willing to listen. One comment said something to the effect of, you could have just hired a crew, made a real music video, which again isn't necessarily always the strongest critique for me. For me, it's more the stealing and the environmental stuff. But either way, they responded, okay, can you lend us 50k? Which kind of reveals the whole thing. If you don't have the budget, don't do it. Limitations breed creativity. You could have made something really cool on a camcorder, on an iPhone. In fact, you did make a really cool low-budget music video. It was literally just one take of Justin Hawkins' face in all this sort of like looks maxing prosthetics with the cheekbones and eyebrows and all this stuff, and I think they openly spoke at the time about not really having much of a budget for music videos these days. So sure, it was somewhat divisive, but it was so much more interesting, especially in hindsight now. The thing with these AI music videos is you can't really see the cracks. There's no artist being pushed to the limits here. Like in Vikkstar's camcorder video, you saw someone who had a camcorder and no budget. With the Darkness makeup video, you saw a band who didn't have a budget, but they made it work. And again, it's a shame because it's not so much the AI music video itself. I kind of expect it from most people at this point, especially those who haven't necessarily outwardly taken a stance against it. Like, sure, it is slightly that, but it's also being completely dismissive of good faith criticism, and seeing them do that as a lifelong fan, as someone who, some of their songs were the first songs I ever learnt on guitar. I think they were maybe my second concert ever. It was disappointing. I feel like one of the more common responses is also, oh, it's the future, oh, everyone's doing it, you can't control everyone, but you can control your own actions. And you're looking at an example. I mean, I'll admit that I dabbled in DALL-E when that first came out before I knew about the ethical implications, and I stopped as soon as I educated myself on it. I was ignorant to how bad it was at the time. I absolutely would not have done it if I knew what I know now, and I'm not justifying either. I know it is and was wrong to do. So I'll leave you with this. This is for anyone who uses AI art or has been thinking about it. Before you do, try and make something yourself. If you're interested in typing a prompt or loading a reference to make a song, a piece of art, draw something bad, make some noise in Audacity, do it with someone, be directly involved in the creative process. It can benefit you in so many ways, from mental health to skills to community, in a world where we're all becoming increasingly individualistic and our mental health is plummeting. Even if it's bad, we need more bad art than ever. And it will be better than AI art 100% of the time because there is a voice behind it. It will fulfill you in so many more ways than generating something that might give you some empty dopamine on Reddit. AI art is so outcome focused, there's nothing in the process, and that's really the whole point of art in the first place. Like, we write, we create to get better and ask ourselves, Will what I make today be good? I hope so, but I also don't care because I made something and I had fun and I got some feelings off my chest. I don't want to sit down knowing, oh, I'm just going to write this type of song today and it's going to come out exactly how I want it. Or maybe you do, but you want to get there through a lot of hard work. That's the accomplishment from the journey. You know, do you want to become a professional runner and just teleport to the finish line? There's no challenge there. You need the obstacles, the stress, the highs, the lows. That's the journey of making something that you won't get unless you're like, you know, slightly altering your prompt until it's exactly how you want it in your head. But I mean, I've never seen any AI art and been like, oh, that was made by that person. Obviously, AI is taking over every industry in the world, and even if there is eventually some ethical way that we can all use AI art, I beg, just try and make something for yourself, because not only is imperfect better, it's necessary. My goat Nathan Zed's video, How Perfection Died, speaks more on the subject of perfectionism specifically. I really recommend it. It's one of my favourite YouTube videos I've watched in a while. It's super inspiring, especially if you're someone who is extremely self-critical as an artist. I didn't think I'd become a commentary YouTuber. I guess I'll make these kind of videos when I feel I have something to say. Typically, I make music theory videos. I post my own music. So if you're interested in not so consistent content, then stick around. If not, then maybe see you some other time in your recommended.
How